Let me begin by sharing a few stories women have told me in confidence, almost as if they are admitting to something they shouldn't. Maybe you catch a whiff of smoke and search your home, but find nothing. Or as you're falling asleep, your body suddenly jolts you awake. Your mouth might feel like it's burning. I had this one. Yet your dentist says everything looks fine. If any of this rings true for you, please know you're not imagining things and you are definitely not alone. What you're going through might not be random. It could be part of a pattern that many women were never shown how to spot. Menopause isn't just about hormones, it is also about changes in the brain. When you see it this way, all of those scattered symptoms start to make sense instead of feeling random. Today, I'm going to walk you through 13 neurological symptoms of perimenopause that many women keep to themselves. They often stay quiet out of fear or worry that it might be early dementia or something serious, or others will just blame it as stress. Now, stress is real and it can make all of those symptoms worse. But for many women, it's not just stress. These symptoms are linked to real changes in how the brain uses energy, handles its chemistry, manages inflammation, and sends signals. Hey, I'm Kristen Beasley. I'm a certified coach in functional medicine, nutrition, and brain health, and this is the Healthy Life Approach podcast. Now, before we dive in, I want to give you a simple way to look at what's happening, track it, measure it, and work to improve it. Start by paying attention to your symptoms regularly. You can jot down what you notice each day in a notebook or use a symptom tracking app. Write down which symptoms show up, when they happen, and anything that might trigger them. Even a week or two of notes can help you spot patterns you might miss otherwise. The goal is to be curious about your body, not critical. There's one idea that changes everything for many women I talk with. Your brain is one of the main organs affected by menopause. Most of us learn that menopause is just about the ovaries and periods, but estrogen does so much more. It also helps regulate the brain. Estrogen helps your brain use energy efficiently, stay focused, form memories, manage inflammation, and maintain steady nerve signaling. When estrogen levels start to change, your brain feels it right away. Dr. Lisa Mosconi, a neuroscientist at Weill Cornell Medicine, has done some of the clearest imaging work in this area. Her brain scans show that during the menopausal transition, the brain can temporarily become less efficient at using glucose, its usual fuel, particularly in regions tied to memory. That finding can sound scary at first, but here's what's often left out. The brain adapts. Mosconi calls this a time of reorganization, not decline. For many women, brain function steadies and even improves after this phase. Most find their symptoms ease and their minds become clearer again. It's a process, but it's about resilience and recovery, not loss. This time can be tough, but there's real hope, and things usually do get better. I see this less as a breakdown and more like renovation. It can feel messy and uncomfortable for a while, but that's not the end. Sometimes the brain even becomes more sensitive to the remaining estrogen as a way to adjust. Now, we're going to talk about progesterone because this is where many symptoms actually begin. Progesterone is the raw material your body uses to make a calming compound called allopregnanolone, which acts on GABA, one of the brain's main settle-down systems. Now, progesterone usually drops sooner and faster than estrogen. Now, for many women, this means the first change is a subtle loss of their body's natural calming support even before the periods change. Add in rising inflammation and more sensitive nervous system, and things start to make sense. These symptoms aren't random. They come from a few main changes happening in your body. So let me name those threads before we start. First, the brain gets less efficient at using its usual fuel. Second, it loses some of its natural calming chemistry. Third, the insulation around nerves can change. Fourth, inflammation can go up in important areas. And fifth, the temperature control in the nervous system can become more sensitive. So symptom one is hot flashes. So we're going to start with one everyone knows, but few people really explain well. A hot flash isn't just about feeling hot. It is your brain's thermostat becoming extra sensitive. The range of temperature your body uses to handle gets smaller, and even a small change can trigger a big reaction. So you might suddenly feel hot and start sweating and notice your heart racing. You're not overreacting to your environment. Your body's thermostat is just more sensitive now. Now, what often helps is slow breathing, about 6 to 8 breaths per minute, which calms the system behind the hot flashes. So, keeping your bedroom cool can help too. Try to notice if things like alcohol, caffeine, or spicy foods trigger your symptoms, since everyone's pattern is different. Symptom two is brain fog. Now, this is the symptom that makes many women worry at night that they're seeing the first signs of dementia. I know it did for me. For most women at this stage, that is not the case. Brain fog means your brain is working harder than usual to keep up with energy, focus, and memory. Maybe you walk into a room and forget why, or you have to read the same sentence several times before it makes sense. This is uncomfortable, but it's a sign your brain is adjusting to how it uses energy, just like Mosconi's research shows. Now, the good news for most women is brain fog gets better as things settle down. What helps most is moving your body every day, especially walking and some strength training, which supports your brain's energy. Keeping your blood sugar steady is important too, since big swings can make the brain fog worse. It's also a good idea to ask your provider to check your B12 and thyroid levels, as issues with either can cause similar symptoms. Symptom three, probably everybody's had it, sleep disruption. So if you fall asleep easily, but you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning with your mind racing, you're describing one of the most common patterns during this time. And this goes back to the calming chemistry we just talked about. With less progesterone, you lose some of your brain's natural off switch, so your mind stays alert when it should be winding down. The result is a tired body and a restless mind. What helps is waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, since this sets your body's clock better than just sticking to a bedtime. Getting sunlight in the first hour after waking also helps. The best tool for this pattern is cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI, which works better than most sleep medications over time. CBTI teaches you how to change thoughts and habits that disrupt sleep so that you can build lasting, healthy sleep patterns. If this is happening to you, it's because your body's chemistry has changed. Symptom four is anxiety or panic. Now, this symptom can feel like a betrayal, especially if you've never thought of yourself as an anxious person. What's happening is a shift in balance. Your brain's alarm system is getting louder while the calming systems are getting quieter. Small worries can start to feel big, and your body reacts before you even realize it. Now, what helps is to cut back on caffeine and alcohol, since both can make anxiety worse. Keeping your blood sugar steady also helps your nervous system stay calm. Regular cardio exercise is one of the best tools for anxiety because it changes your body's baseline, not just how you feel in the moment. This is often biological, not a personal failing, and the difference is important in how you treat yourself. Now, symptom five is rage and irritability. Now, for this symptom, few people want to talk about it. The sudden snap, the total loss of patience, and that moment afterward when you wonder who you just became. It is the same shift in brain regulation we just talked about, just from a different angle. The alarm center, or your amygdala, gets louder. The control center, or your prefrontal cortex, loses some grip, and your reactions come out stronger and faster than you mean for them to. And it's a non-negotiable for sleep because a tired brain often has no regulatory margin. Blood sugar stability matters here as well. And the third piece is awareness without shame, because naming the mechanism in the moment gives your brain a few seconds to catch up. Now, let's pause for a moment. If you've even had one of these first five symptoms, you're in good company, and we're only halfway through the list. Now, the next group of symptoms often confuses women the most because they don't sound hormonal. It seems like something else is wrong with the body, but if you looked for those same five threads, you'll see how they connect. So symptom six is word finding problems. You know the word you want. You can almost feel it, but the harder you try to remember, the further away it seems. And this isn't the kind of memory loss people worry about. It's just a temporary slowdown between the part of your brain that stores words and the part that retrieves them. It's very common at this stage, and it usually comes and goes. What helps is keeping your brain active, reading, having conversations, and learning new things to strengthen those pathways. Exercise helps too, and make sure you get deep sleep, since that's when your brain does a lot of its organization. Symptom seven is one I've had, burning mouth. Now, this one can feel particularly isolating because everything looks normal to everyone who examines it. There is a burning, tingling, or pain, and yet the exam comes back clean. So women begin to doubt themselves. The experience is real. Researchers describe burning mouth syndrome as a problem with nerve sensitivity and pain signaling, and hormonal changes appear to be one influence on the oral tissues and the nerves that serve them. The evidence linking it specifically to perimenopause is still developing, so I hold this one a little more loosely than the others, but the discomfort is not imaginary. What tends to help is asking your provider to check your B vitamins, particularly B12, staying well hydrated, and tracking trigger foods so you can see your own pattern over a couple of weeks. Symptom 8 is phantom smell. So you catch the smell of smoke or something chemical or a sharp metallic note. You look around and there is no source anywhere. The simplest way to understand it is a signal noise. The smell pathway in your brain misfires, and your brain interprets that internal noise as a real scent. It is unsettling precisely because smell feels so reliably tied to the outside world. What tends to help is smell training, a genuine, well-studied therapy that uses a small set of strong scents daily to retrain the pathway. Basic nasal care like saline rinses can help. If a phantom smell is persistent or one-sided, that is worth ruling out sinus and other causes with your provider rather than assuming it's hormonal. Symptom 9 is one I struggle with is tinnitus, and that's that ringing, buzzing, or high-pitched sound that's loudest in a quiet room, and it's something I relate to personally since hearing health is a big part of my work. Tinnitus is often brushed off as just part of aging, but hormonal changes can affect your inner ear, the nerves that carry sound, and how your brain processes it. Stress can make it seem louder, which is why it often feels worse on tough days. What helps is sound therapy using gentle background noise to give your brain something else to focus on. If you wear hearing aids, you can get an app that's a tinnitus masker. Lowering your stress can also make the reading seem quieter. I also recommend getting your hearing checked since hearing loss can be managed, and tinnitus is a good reason to have it measured. Symptom 10 is vertigo and dizziness. So if the room spins when you roll over in the bed, please do not file that under anxiety and move on. A common cause is called BB, in which tiny calcium crystals in the inner ear become displaced and confuse your balance system. The evidence suggests that hormonal changes may increase the likelihood of these inner ear disturbances, though, as with burning mouth, I treat the specific perimenopause link as still emerging. What will help you is to start with getting the right diagnosis, since treatment depends on the cause. If you have BPPB, a guided Epley maneuver with your ear, nose, and throat doctor can work very well. Balance exercises help with recovery, and it's worth asking your provider about vitamin D since low levels are linked to repeated BPPB. Symptom 11 is electric shock sensations. These are symptoms many women hesitate to mention because they sound odd. A quick jolt, a stab, or a brief electric feeling that comes and goes, often as you're falling asleep. Now, this relates to nerve insulation. One main theory is that myelin, the protective coating around your nerves, helps signals travel smoothly. When that process isn't as smooth, you might feel these little shocks. What tends to help is asking your provider to check your vitamin B12 status, since it is essential for nerve health, and supporting nerve health more broadly, including vitamin D and magnesium. Persistent or worsening zaps are worth evaluating with your provider to rule out other conditions rather than assuming they are just hormonal. If you ever notice electric shock sensations along with any other following symptoms, seek medical attention. New weakness or numbness in your limbs, trouble walking or keeping your balance, sudden vision changes, loss of bladder or bowel control, or if the sensations are severe, frequent, or associated with pain. These red flags can indicate a more serious issue that requires immediate evaluation. This symptom is called formication, and it's just as unsettling as it sounds. It feels like something is crawling on or under your skin, even though nothing is there. Two things cause this. Lower estrogen level changes your skin, leaving less cushion around nerve endings, and at the same time, histamine and nerve sensitivity can increase. Together, they create these odd sensations with no outside cause. What helps is keeping your skin moisturized. Look honestly at foods or things in your environment that might trigger histamine, and asking your provider about magnesium, which is often mentioned for calming nerves. Symptom 13 are heart palpitations, and I've had these too. I want to be clear about this. Palpitations always need to be checked by a doctor first, no exceptions. Once your doctor has ruled out anything serious, palpitations during this time are often due to an imbalance in the nervous system. Your body leans more toward the fight or flight mode and less towards rest and relaxation. The same changes that cause hot flashes can also affect your heart rhythm, which is why they often happen together. Now, after you've been checked by a doctor, what helps is slow breathing with longer exhales, which activates your body's calming system. Staying hydrated, cutting back on stimulants, and doing regular cardio exercise all help keep your heart rhythm steady over time. Take a moment to hear this whole list: hot flashes, brain fog, sleep problems, anxiety, irritability, trouble finding words, burning mouth, phantom smells, tinnitus, vertigo, electric zaps, skin crawling, and palpitations. Hearing them all together can feel like your body is doing 13 scary, unrelated things at once. But that's not true. There's a pattern underneath, and you already know it from earlier. Your brain is adapting to changing hormones, shifting chemistry, and a new way of working. If you look at the big picture, those same 5 threads: brain energy, nerve signals, inflammation, calming chemistry, and a more sensitive nervous system show up in almost every symptom. Now, I want to challenge one of the hardest thoughts that can come up, that it's all in your head. These symptoms are not imagined. They are in your head because your brain is one of the main systems going through these changes. This is real, biological, and your body is working to adapt. The solution isn't about extremes or guessing. It's about sticking to the basics, even if they are not glamorous, because those things are the things that actually work. Move your body, especially with aerobic exercise. Treat your sleep like medicine, because it really is. Keep your blood sugar steady throughout the day. Give your brain the nutrients your provider confirms you need. Most importantly, get real support from people who listen and take you seriously. You deserve that. The last point really matters. You deserve more than a quick brush off in an appointment. You deserve answers, to be heard, and a plan that fits your body and your needs. That's what my framework is all about. First, build your base by focusing on daily habits like movement, sleep, and nutrition. Second, know your numbers by tracking symptoms and health markers to see what's changing for you. Third, own your outcomes by using what you learn here to make decisions. Speak up for yourself and create a plan that works for you. These steps help you move from confusion to clarity and action. So I want to ask 2 small things of you. First, if you have experienced any of these symptoms, leave a comment with the word "me." I read them, and every one of those comments helps another woman realize she is not alone. Second, if you want more conversations that explain your own body in language that actually makes sense, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, because this is a discussion we need to have more openly and more honestly. Take care of yourself and take care of that remarkable brain of yours. It is not failing you, it is adapting, and you can give it what it needs to come through this stronger. A quick and important note before we wrap up: I am a certified functional medicine health coach, not a physician. This episode is for education and is not medical advice. If you are dealing with any of these symptoms, work with a licensed healthcare professional for proper evaluation and personalized decisions, and talk to your provider before starting any supplement, medication, or major lifestyle change. And as always, some of the links in the show notes may be affiliate links where I earn a small commission at no extra charge to you. Thank you for being here.